What happens when truth stands before power and refuses to bend? What if questioning Jesus was never about finding answers, but about resisting truth itself? And what if silence, strength, and suffering can speak louder than any accusation? The night is still heavy with tension. The garden arrest has already taken place. Jesus has been bound and brought into the courtyard. The atmosphere has shifted from darkness outside to something even more intense inside. Controlled spaces, structured authority, and questioning eyes that seek control rather than understanding. In Gospel of John chapter 18, verses 19 to 24, we step into a moment where Jesus stands before the high priest. This is not a trial in the modern sense of justice. This is an interrogation shaped by suspicion, authority, and pressure. The high priest begins to question Jesus about his disciples and his teaching. On the surface, it seems like a search for information. But underneath, something deeper is happening. This is not neutral questioning. This is an attempt to define, limit, and control the message of Jesus. The questions are not coming from curiosity. They are coming from authority that feels challenged. Jesus, however, does not respond in the way expected. He does not enter into defense mode. He does not try to prove himself in the way human systems often demand. Instead, he responds with clarity and simplicity. I have spoken openly to the world, Jesus says. I always taught in synagogues or at the temple where all the Jews come together. I said nothing in secret. This answer is powerful because it shifts the entire framework of the interrogation. Jesus is not hiding anything. There is no secret agenda, no hidden teaching, no concealed truth. Everything he has done has been public, visible, and accessible. This exposes something important about truth. Truth does not need to hide. It does not rely on secrecy to survive. It stands openly, even when challenged. Jesus continues by pointing toward witnesses. Ask those who heard me, surely they know what I said. This is significant. In a system built on testimony, Jesus appeals not to emotion, not to persuasion, but to evidence. He invites them to look beyond assumptions and listen to those who have already heard him. But instead of engaging with this, something unexpected happens. One of the officials standing nearby strikes Jesus. Not because he has committed a crime, not because he has spoken falsely, but because his answer is not what they wanted to hear. He is slapped and told, "Is this the way you answer the high priest?" This moment reveals something deeper than physical violence. It reveals discomfort with truth. Because when truth does not align with expectations, resistance often follows. And sometimes that resistance takes the form of force. But Jesus does not retaliate. He does not escalate. He does not respond with anger. Instead, he asks a simple question. If I said something wrong, testify as to what is wrong. But if I spoke the truth, why did you strike me? This question is not defensive. It is revealing. It exposes the lack of justice in the moment. Because if truth is being spoken, then violence has no justification. And if wrongdoing cannot be identified, then the response becomes questionable. Jesus brings attention not to himself, but to the integrity of the process. He challenges the structure not through rebellion, but through clarity. This is important to understand, because in this moment Jesus is not powerless. He is restrained, but not defeated. He is bound, but not silenced. He is questioned, but not confused. There is a calm authority in his presence that cannot be shaken by intimidation. The high priest's questioning is meant to place Jesus in a position of limitation. But instead, Jesus reveals something greater. Truth cannot be contained by interrogation. It cannot be reduced by authority. It cannot be controlled by pressure. It simply stands. This moment also reveals a contrast between human authority and divine purpose. The high priest represents a system built on structure, tradition, and control. Jesus represents a message rooted in truth, openness, and purpose. One seeks to preserve power, the other reveals truth. And in that tension, conflict emerges. But Jesus does not resist in the way we might expect. He does not fight back. He does not argue for personal defense. Instead, he remains anchored in truth. This challenges how we often think about strength, because in many situations, strength is associated with resistance, argument, or control. But here, strength is expressed through restraint, through clarity, through refusal to distort truth under pressure. There is also something deeply human happening in this scene. Jesus is being treated unjustly. He is being questioned not with fairness, but with suspicion. He is being struck without cause, and yet he remains composed. This is not emotional detachment, it is intentional endurance. It is the ability to remain aligned with purpose even when surroundings are unstable. As the moment unfolds, Jesus is then sent bound to Caiaphas, the high priest. The interrogation does not resolve anything. There is no discovery of wrongdoing, no revelation of hidden truth. Instead, there is movement toward a larger process that has already begun to unfold. And this raises an important reflection. Sometimes, when truth is not accepted, it is not because it is unclear. It is because it is uncomfortable. Because truth often challenges existing structures, it exposes assumptions, it disrupts control. And in such moments, resistance is a natural response. But truth does not lose its value because it is resisted. It remains true regardless of reaction. This is what we see in Jesus' response. He does not adjust his message to avoid conflict. He does not soften truth to gain approval. He does not change direction to escape pressure. He remains consistent. And in that consistency, something powerful is revealed. Truth does not need validation from authority. It carries its own weight. Another important layer in this moment is silence. Between responses, Jesus does not fill the space with unnecessary words. He speaks when necessary and remains silent when appropriate. This silence is not emptiness, it is strength. Because silence in the presence of injustice is not weakness when it is grounded in purpose. It is restraint, it is awareness, it is control over reaction, and that control speaks louder than forced defense. In contrast, the surrounding environment is filled with tension. Questions are sharp, actions are reactive, authority is being asserted through pressure. But Jesus remains steady. This contrast highlights something essential. Not all authority is aligned with truth. Not all questioning is rooted in understanding, and not all resistance is based on justice. Sometimes, truth stands alone in the middle of pressure, and that is where its strength becomes visible. This moment also invites reflection on how we respond when faced with misunderstanding, when our words are questioned, when our intentions are misinterpreted, when our actions are judged unfairly. The natural response is often defense, frustration, or withdrawal. But Jesus shows another way, a way of clarity without aggression, a way of truth without compromise, a way of strength without escalation. And this is not easy, because it requires inner stability. It requires knowing who you are and why you stand where you stand. Without that foundation, pressure can easily shift direction. But with it, even interrogation cannot shake identity. As the scene closes, Jesus is led away, still bound, still under control of those questioning him. From a surface perspective, it may appear that authority has won, that power has prevailed, that truth has been subdued. But this is only the visible layer, because what is happening beneath the surface is something far greater. Truth is not being defeated, it is being revealed through endurance, through silence, through clarity, and through unwavering purpose. This moment in the courtyard is not just about interrogation. It is about contrast between fear and truth, between control and purpose, between pressure and peace. And in that contrast, something becomes clear. Truth does not need to shout to be heard. It does not need force to be valid. It does not need approval to exist. It simply remains. And that is what makes it powerful. So when we reflect on this moment, we are not just observing history. We are seeing a principle that applies beyond that night. In our own lives, there will be moments where truth is questioned, where intentions are misunderstood, where pressure tries to shape responses. And in those moments, the challenge is the same. Do we react? Do we compromise? Or do we remain anchored in truth? Jesus' response in the courtyard offers a different path. One of clarity, one of restraint, one of unwavering purpose. And that is where true strength is revealed, not in the absence of pressure, but in the presence of it. Not in avoiding challenge, but in remaining steady within it. And that is the deeper message of this moment. Truth stands even when questioned, and it does not lose its power. Thank you for watching this video. If this message spoke to you, don't forget to like, follow the channel, and share this video with someone who might need this today.